What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Controlled Chaos Gaming. Today we're going to do a little bit of a different video. This is going to be Controlled Chaos Gaming's guide to shuffling Pokemon cards. This can really be used for any card game, whether it be Magic, whether it be Pokemon, whether it be MetaZoo, whether it be Yu-Gi-Oh, anything you want. But this is going to be how to shuffle optimally, how to not only randomize the cards every time, but keep your cards safe. I'm sure you're all aware by now and have watched a lot of the other YouTubers that riffle shuffling is the best shuffling. That is when you take the two cards, split them into two, put your knuckles on it, and shuffle the cards. Now this, however, is not the best way to shuffle your cards, especially if you want to care for your cards and do true randomization. I've done a lot of testing, a lot of shuffling over the years, and I have found what I think is the best method to shuffling that provides the same randomness as riffle shuffling, but does not damage the cards as much as it does. Before we get into that, we have to talk about some of the basics. When you shuffle a deck, how many times do you need to shuffle? Why do you shuffle the deck? Things like that. Every time that you're going to shuffle the deck, or the card says to shuffle a deck, you take a look at your hand, you say, okay, I'm not going to go back into the deck or going to research the deck, and therefore I should probably just shuffle the deck. And then at that point, you need to determine how much you need to shuffle the deck. So after a lot of research, a lot of watching videos, a lot of test and error, I can say with confidence that 7 shuffles is the perfect shuffle. Because the odds that somebody can pick the top card of this deck to be a specific card after 7th shuffle, you have a 4.5% chance of getting that card correct. And that's with a 60 card deck. Obviously, this is a pre-release deck, just so I can show you guys the shuffling. But you do want to shuffle 7 times. That is the perfect shuffle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just like that. And the deck is perfectly randomized. Your opponent can go ahead and cut the deck right there. And then you have a perfectly random deck. Look at that. No palmy. There we go. And in fact, we have a very randomized set. We have 2 energy, we have 2 supporters, we have 3 Pokemon, and they're not at all similar. So that's a perfect example of randomization. Now, you guys just saw me shuffle, and I did not riffle shuffle. This is something based on the Pharaoh shuffle, which is in playing cards. It's where you take 2 cards and you Pharaoh shuffle them together. With sleeves, that's pretty impossible. You know, they're open-ended on the sides, so I decided to do it from the side, but this right here is really damaging to the cards if you get it wrong. So I decided to go ahead and try it from the back side of the deck. So that's where this style was created. It was taking the Pharaoh deck and the mass shuffling that you guys have seen. This mass shuffling, I absolutely hate it, but a lot of people love it. I took the 2 and put them together and created what you see here, which we'll call the cut shuffle. Why not riffle? I think this is a lot of people's gripe when it comes to shuffling cards, is that when to riffle, when to not riffle. I say that riffle shuffling the deck, so doing this right here, never the option, because you're slowly going to warp your cards over the course of playing in a tournament, playing a couple months. They're going to warp. And even if it's not noticeable, right? It might be a little bit. It might be a little bit now, but the sleeves actually warp more than the cards. I think a lot of players mistake that for the cards warping. Obviously, if you go overhand like this, it does not damage the cards. Buttery smooth, and there's no resistance on the sleeves whatsoever. It's what most people have told me their favorite shuffling technique. So we're going to get into how to do this and the differences between riffle shuffling and this shuffle. For riffle shuffling, I've seen this quite a few times where players will, when they riffle, they're right-handed. They're actually going to consistently put that right card on top. So when you put them all together, they're going to cut the deck again, and guess what? That top card is not at all changing. Look at that. Right there, every single time, that top card is always going to be the same. This is what I found with players that do Riffle Shuffle. And sometimes they're left-handed, right? And so when they're left-handed, they'll shuffle and whoop, the top card has become the top of the left packet. So that's something that Riffle Shuffling tends to create. If you're dominant hand, you'll put that card on top. So we're going to get into now the cut shuffle. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to split the packets in half as best you can. Obviously, if you can't do it in half, you can do less or you can do more, right? But we want to focus on cutting the top half away from the bottom half. And with the bottom half, you're going to have what's called a mechanics grip in, playing cards, where you have 3 fingers on the bottom side, or the right side of the cards. 1 finger, your pointer finger, on the top, and your thumb is grabbing the top. But you want to have it loose. You don't want to have the grip that you would normally get from Riffle Shuffling. You want it to be a very loose grip. So then you're going to have this in the mechanics grip, and you're going to have what's called a palm grip in this hand. So that's 2 fingers on top, 2 fingers on the sides, and 1 thumb at the bottom. So the cards fit perfectly in your hand, and they should not move. So you can hold them upside down. You have them loose enough that they can wiggle around, but you don't have them loose enough that they're going to fall. So once you've done that, you've taken the 2 packets and you've separated them. The next thing you're going to do is I'm going to try and show this from this angle. You're going to run the cards like this through the deck. So just like that, going to run it through. You shouldn't hear any resistance. If you do, you know you're not doing it right. But what you want to do to make this easy is you're just going to hold your thumb and tighten the bottom right here. Tighten the bottom with the mechanics grip, and this top part will be very loose. So it's very easy for these cards to interlace. So once you put them in there, you can let go, and the way you're going to let go is this, the top 2 fingers. You're just going to slowly let go 1 card at a time. And just like that, you've let go of all the cards. Then you're going to, with your mechanics grip, push, and then with the middle finger and thumb, push on this other side. So you're squaring up the deck right there, and then you should have a perfectly shuffled deck. So what we need to do is do that 7 times. So real quick, I'm going to do it slow. We're going to get some good angles in here, try and get a couple. So again, separating the pack, we've got 2 fingers, 2 fingers. We've got the mechanics grip. We've got the thumb on the bottom and on the side respectively. And we're going to run the cards through just like that and drop them 1 by 1. And there we go. Push in, push, push, just like that. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to speed that up, right? The process, it'll become split the deck in half, run the cards through, and you'll notice when you run the cards through and you pinch at the bottom here, right at the bottom, you pinch that in, you'll notice that the cards kind of split apart. So you'll be able to do this very easily. Now it's important to remember that a lot of people get caught cheating from looking at the deck, so you'll want to look away from the deck when you shuffle it. So it's going to take a little bit of getting used to it, but the deck, you always want it to face the non-dominant hand side. So if you're dominant right, you're going to have it facing the left, and if you're dominant left, you're going to have it facing the right. But you want to look away from where it is so you don't see the cards, right? Just like that. I can't see what the bottom card is, but if I was to turn it like this, I can see what the bottom card is. So that's something that you shouldn't do, is you got to do it away from you. So I'm right-handed, so I'm going to do it away from me like this, and we're going to do it 7 times. So this is what it should look like when you're doing it in a tournament setting. Somebody has just let you look through your deck, you search for a Miraidon, you put it down onto the field, and then you'll go to work shuffling. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and just like that. Cut the deck, good to go. And that was, I don't know, I'm going to put a timer on screen. That was very fast. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to do the exact same thing, riffle shuffling, so you guys can see the difference in time, the difference in the cards and such. So we're searching through the deck. We grab out an Indeedee, and then we're going to shuffle. Okay. That was 2. This is 3. You can already tell how much slower it is and how much I'm damaging the cards by doing this. Again, this is a pre-release deck, so it shouldn't be offending anybody out there. But that was 4. That's 5 right there. I'm going to do this side by side so you guys can see it, but that's 6. Oh, jeez. And that's 7. And then we're going to give the deck a cut. So the deck is fully randomized. It's been randomized the same, but that one took way longer, as you guys can see, and it's less damaging on the cards. So you're going to be saying to yourself now, Andy, I've done this with, a 40-card deck. This is pretty easy, right? So you might be saying, oh, well, I have tiny hands. I get that comment a lot. I know some of the players have smaller hands. I have quite large hands, as you can see. So I'm going to give you guys an alternative. And that alternative is, instead of using the mechanics grip, you're actually going to use the table. So you're going to hold the cards like you normally do in the right hand or your dominant hand. Put them on the table instead. So it's just going to be 2 fingers and the 1 pointer. And then you're going to split the cards, same way you did it in the other one. And you're going to do the exact same thing, but it's just going to be on the table. So there you go, right there. And it's not leaving the table. This is for small-handed people, right? This is very simple, very easy for small-handed people. If you have large hands like myself, you should be able to do the other way. But the table is a nice way to square the deck up without having to hold the whole thing in your hand. So next, we're just going to get into probably the last segment of this, which is going to be shuffling the deck, the cut shuffle style right here. You can see after a while, it gets like second-hand nature. And again, you should not feel any resistance. Get some more clips of it, so go a little bit slower. Just like that. And kind of go into the deck right there. Boom. So just like that, over and over, it should become second-hand nature. And then the last thing we're going to get into is shuffling a real deck. So this is just a pre-release deck. I've shuffled it quite a few times now. It should be sufficiently shuffled, right? But how does this work with a 60-card deck? Let's see right now. So here we go. We've got my 60-card deck. This is going to be the Lost Box deck that we featured in one of the other videos. So I am just going to do a little experiment and put all of my energy at the front. So let's say I'm searching through the deck, right? This energy is all right there. It's very plain to see that it is not shuffled, right? The deck has a bunch of energy in a row, just like that. And the energy is nowhere else. It's all at the front. So what we're going to do now is we're going to shuffle the deck. Now this is a double sleeve deck. I do recommend that if you are playing the game and want to shuffle but not damage your cards, and you do it this method, I recommend doing double sleeving because it makes the shuffle much easier when you go ahead and do that shuffle. That being said, it is not necessary. This is not a double sleeve deck. There was no issues. So this is a massive double sleeve deck, right? Very hard to riffle shuffle. Easy to do the cut shuffle. So we're going to do it right here. We're going to just start it, and we're going to do 7 shuffles, and we're going to see how randomized that energy is. Now, it's one more thing. It's important to remember that the top card is always changing, and the bottom card is always changing. So when you cut the cards, you're going to do the mass shuffle. You want the bottom card to change. So right there, you'll see the bottom card is going to change, so we're going to do that. So I'm going to put a little timer on the screen, and we're going to time myself. How fast can I do the shuffle cut? 7 times. I've looked through the deck. Okay, I found a card that I want. Okay, So this is 60 cards too. You'll never really shuffle 60 cards that much. But here we go. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just like that. Oops. Just like that. And then your opponent would cut it. And now we're going to take a look at how randomized the energy are in the deck. So you'll notice there's one. First card there. Couple cards in, couple cards in, couple cards in, couple cards in. And would you look at that? There, so far, is not a single energy next to another one. Pretty insane. So, the randomization definitely called for. The exact same randomization you would get from Riffle Shuffling, maybe even better. And that is the cut shuffle. I really appreciate you guys checking out this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed and learned something. Obviously, there's going to be some questions, so if you have any questions, please make sure to leave them in the link down below, right there. And if you are wanting to learn more about it, go ahead and message me either on Instagram or on Discord at Controlled Chaos Gaming. Thank you guys so much again. I'm Andy from Controlled Chaos Gaming, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.